Hello, this is John with Modern Exterior. Today I'm going to talk to you briefly about identifying roof leaks. It's the most common question that I get when I'm going to an appointment is how to identify a roof leak. So I'm really going to break this down into two subparts. One is identifying that there is a roof leak because that's more complicated than one would first think. And then secondly, we're going to look at identifying what is causing that leak. So identifying that there is a roof leak is not as simple as most people think, walking into your living room, seeing a big pile of water, and knowing that there's a problem. Of course, if there is a big pile of water in your living room, there is a problem. It's not always a roofing problem. There have been multiple times when I've been called out to homes and there's a big old stain of water on the ceiling and it's right below a second-story bathroom. In most of these cases, it's not something with the roof, it's more of a plumbing issue. So it can save you a lot of time and headache to know kind of the configuration of the plumbing in your home, where the pipes run, where the drains run. Roughly, you don't have to know everything to the T, but that can help you solve a lot of problems yourself. Know who to call and when to call a plumber, when to call a roofer. Most of the times with roof leaks, you're not going to see a big old stain of water on the ground. That tends to be a really severe roof leak. You're going to notice other signs first. Most of the time what you see first is going to be either staining or bubbling on the ceiling itself. So that's going to be either with the drywall or the plaster that you have. There's going to be discoloration and staining. So that likely is going to be the first thing you notice. That's going to be when you know that there's a problem. However, that often isn't the first sign that there is a problem. I do recommend that homeowners go up into their attic space roughly twice a year. You can go more often if you are more concerned, and take a look around. That's going to tell you a lot of things about a lot of other things than just your roofing, but today we're going to focus on the roofing aspect of it. So when you go into that attic space, I do recommend taking a look around, making sure that all your insulation is flat and level. When insulation is installed, it's installed in one flat gradient, and that's the way that it should be. If you notice a divot, that oftentimes can be a sign that there is a roofing problem above it. So water, when it drips down, it compresses that insulation and it causes a loss of R value. And of course, the water can cause other problems in your attic space. Also, when you're up there, it's a good idea to take a look at the decking above. And that decking is going to be the wood that's behind the shingles that is on your roof. Take a look at that, look for any kind of discoloration, staining, even like delamination. Oftentimes it's a composite board, so it delaminates when it gets wet. So keep an eye on that, make sure that all looks good. Third thing to look at when you're up there, and most professionals even miss this, is going to be the tips of the nails that are holding your shingles in place. You're going to want to take a look at those, make sure that those aren't rusted. If they are, it's oftentimes a sign of moisture penetration in your attic space. It doesn't necessarily mean a roof leak. It oftentimes can be a venting issue. However, it is something to look at. But say you've gone through all the steps, you took a look, figured out you do have a roof leak. The next step is figuring out what is causing that leak. So that's honestly probably what I spend about 30% of my day doing, is figuring out what is causing this leak. So the attic is really going to tell you the most of what's going on up there. When you're up there, look at what is around where that water is coming in from. So you're going to want to take a look at any kind of venting, be it a roof vent, a kitchen vent, a bath vent. Those are going to be some of the most common causes of roof leaks. Any kind of breather for a lead stack or for your plumbing, you're going to want to take a look around there, make sure that that's not causing the problem. Chimneys are a big cause of leaks, so you're going to want to take a look, see if water's coming in around there. That could be the flashing from the chimney that's causing that. It can be the tuck pointing, the cap. Even I've seen some flue issues cause water to come in. So I've seen a lot of issues with chimneys. Another common thing that I see issues is roof-to-wall transitions. So say you have a garage roof and then a wall above that. Often I see it with attached garages where it's a two-story home and then a garage next to it. This transition here is called a roof-to-wall transition. There's a special step flashing that goes underneath there. Picture an L-shaped tin that goes down across that face. That is going to be a common point of failure. So that's something to look at, any kind of transition like that. Often you see that as well on dormers. Another common failure point you see on a roof is going to be the valley. So not all roofs have valleys, but valleys are on a roof a point where two faces meet in a concave fashion like this. A convex fashion, that's called a peak or a hip. That's not quite as much of a problem area. The valley, you have two faces where water tends to rush down, you get a lot of water flow, and that can cause a lot of problems. So if it's in one of those areas, oftentimes they can be repaired. However, that's not always the case. Say you have a standard gable roof, one face with nothing on there, and there's a leak coming in. That's going to be when you really need to go up on the roof itself, try to remember where roughly on the deck it is, and take a look at where that water is coming in from. If you go up there and you see the shingles are all worn out and there's an exposed nail head, that's going to be oftentimes your problem there. If that's the case, really it's probably about time for a roof replacement. That's not always the case, however. If it's on a slope like that and it's a newer roof, it might be an installer issue. So when shingles are installed, they're butt up against each other like this. You don't want two of those butt joints to overlap because that can cause water penetration and cause issues as well. So that's something else to monitor for. Ultimately, if you do determine that there is a roof leak, I do recommend calling a professional, get someone out there to take a look, knows what they're doing, and will know how to fix it. It doesn't always mean you need a new roof. It's important to get somebody who's able to diagnose the problem and explain to you how it can be resolved. This is John with Modern Exterior, signing off.